Welcome and thank you for joining us for our overview of our levels. We are Team Diamond. I am Ted Andrew Fry, and the rest of my team is Alex Tess, Brandon Collins, Christopher Flamian, and Luis Paez. And I hope you enjoy our video.
Alright, I'm Chris Flamian, and the first level you come to is mine. You come to a warehouse with a junction box sitting outside, but if you enter, it will start to get dark and you won't be able to see. So you have to turn on the power with the junction box, and then you can enter. Inside here, there's multiple collectibles. You do need the fuse to continue. So once you gather that up, you go to the junction box in this section and attach it. You also have these logic gates on the wall. There are AND gates and OR gates. So the AND needs both switches to work. And the ORs only need one. Once the power gets all the way to the top and you have the fuse on the junction box, you are able to flip that lever, which powers the line, which powers the elevator. So going on to the second floor, similar, and you are able to crawl under and jump over these shelves. But if you do, you could miss something. And for this level 2, or for this section, there is another fuse. And the logic part of this introduces an exclusive OR gate and an inverter. So you have to solve this puzzle as well. And as soon as you get power to the very top, you're able to flip that junction box. And you can crawl under these, or you can go over and crawl through the little gap. So going up to the third level, these shelves again, you are able to crawl under or jump over. And inside here, you have this fuse. You can flip just the fourth switch in order to do it. The line doesn't give you the immediate feedback, so it kind of makes the person think a bit more during that one. But once that's powered, you're able to get on the elevator and exit the level. And that is my level.
Alrighty, I'm Brandon here. This is my level. I am discussing the post-apocalyptic theme. You'll see grass coming through all of the concrete and the grounds. You'll also see a gigantic hole here. You'll have to use this hollow bridge in order to cross it. After you activate the hollow bridge and cross over, you'll come to this broken estate here. It has completely no power. However, thanks to this battery or power cell, you should be able to activate all the doors as such. In addition to that, you come inside the estate and you will find yourself in a little bit of a puzzle. All the doors are locked and you will need a battery or some kind of power cell in order to power them up. Each power cell has its own physics engine, so you can kick it, you can move it. In addition to that, every time you place it in, it does have its own res. Here's another mechanic here. It's a jump pad. In addition to the jump pad, we also have a rotating bridge, which will come in very handy later, because it also dual functions as a conveyor. In addition to that, we have our final battery right here to get to the last room. And inside here, you'll see that this battery is actually glowing green. If you noticed earlier on in the film that across the ways there was a bridge that also had a glowing green light on it. This battery is the only thing that powers that gate. So let's go ahead and get there and put this battery in there. And there we go. And now that we're here, we come to the gorge. The gorge is full of a very poisonous red toxic gas. So hopefully we can get across without dying. In addition to that, we will also be using all the mechanics. As mentioned earlier, here we come back to the rotating bridge. However, it does have that secondary motion turned on, where it does function as a working conveyor. Look at that. In addition to moving objects and stuff like that, it also works on, I guess, the batteries as well. Some of the dynamics are not there. Jump pad. You can hold the battery the whole time that you are crossing all of these. I do recommend that when we, right here, see the previous leap I call the leap of faith because you could die or make it, and this one is just a simple little drop. In addition to that, we are going to toss that battery over there. We're going to rotate this bridge real quick. Now this one is a challenge because the pull rate on this is ridiculous, and it's more of a timing challenge than anything else. Oh, see? There we go. Let's go ahead and get down here and get back to where we were. Alrighty. Here we go. And boom. I pick up the battery, and that is the end of my level.
Cool. Let me introduce you to this first empty room. The first thing the player is going to see is this exit door with all 3 lights not lit. The lights are unlit. When the player presses the button, however, the room populates to introduce him to the first puzzle. This room introduces them to the and access different parts of this room. So right here, we're going to jump onto these crates using that first gear, and the player needs to move all 3 gears to the left side of the room. To do that, they first need to move the gears here. Here we're going to move this first gear into play gear. And then from here, we need to fling that third and final gear to the, with all the rest of them too. And once all 3 gears are in place, the player is now able to jump across them like a bridge. Now, once the button has been pressed, one of the lights on the door will turn on, which indicates the playing for in the next puzzles. And pressing the button leads them to the puzzle, to this puzzle. Now, use coverage, and in order to find the button, they need to move all these gears into place. Now, for the sake of time, we're not going to look at the collectibles. We're just going to go. That is the second button activated. Now, if you just die, it'll send it. Now, the third and final room. In this room, the player can use the gear that's just fallen there to get across and get some more collectibles, but in this case we're just going to need to move this access to the button. With the third and final button pushed, they died the room and they can leave to go on to the next level.
And this is my level. I'm Ted Fry. The level I went with is a warehouse for a water filtration And the first room is a loading dock for the trucks for the water filtration system company. This also is where the first mechanic for my level is. It would be pressure plates. This leads into a set of catwalks that the player must avoid falling into the water from. This also leads up to the second mechanic of my level, which is springboards. It launches them into a set of broken catwalks that they must jump across and have a greater chance of dying. As they go down the stairs and into the next room, this will be the practice for my pressure plates. Player must use one block in order to activate the platforms to get across the room, and they will use a second block in order to activate the door. This leads into a broken hallway that has collapsed in. It also has a piece that is required in order to finish the level. It is part of a broken water filtration machine. As they get through the hallway, it will lead into the first puzzle room. In this area, they must use a block in order to lower a platform that they must use in order to reach the next area. With a little bit of trial and error, it is but as they lower the platform, they will notice that they're still not quite able to reach it. They must use these large blocks in order to climb up the rest of the way. This will lead into the practice for my springboards. Simple little setup. And this goes into the master for the pressure plates. The player will have to grab a block. Make sure to pick up the block. And send it for the last section of the room in order to activate the door, but they must use the large block in order to activate the large pressure plates. And just kind of throw the block off in order to get it away. This block will activate the door that leads into the mastery for my springboards. The player will use the springboards to move up and through platforms. The last one is a little trickier and requires precise timing. As you walk into this room, it will lead to the final room for my level, but the player will not be able to open the door yet. This will lead up to the final puzzle for my level, which is a mix of broken catwalks with platforms that the player must use in order to avoid falling into the water. Right here is a second checkpoint to help the player in case they do fall in. And as they get to the end, they will notice that the final collectible is at the end of this room. And with getting this collectible, they will be able to complete my level and exit. With all the collectibles, they'll be able to press this button, and that will be the end of my level.
Hello everyone, my name's Alex Tess, and this is my level, the power plant. And in this level, you're going to be making your way through the rooms dodging lasers and having to break down the glass doors while collecting collectibles that are power cubes for the Bastion. So the first room is the office. The second room, as you make it your way into the lab, you dodge a couple more lasers. And then you break another pane of glass to get out of the lab. And there's a few checkpoints to help you out if you don't quite make it. There's one at the beginning of the lab and one at the beginning of the next room, which is the control room. These lasers you have to crouch to go under. And as you get to the next obstacle, you're provided with 2 cubes, and you have to crouch under this obstacle, and then jump over the first laser, and crouch under the second one. Then crouch under this laser, and then you make your way to the first door, which you can break. And then in this part of the level, you get 2 cubes, and you can use those cubes to make your way over the pit. And we finally break out of the control room, and we'll move on to the next part of our level. In this part of the power plant, you're going to be making your way up the control tower to get the rest of the collectibles, and make your way onto the roof of the power plant, and make an exit out of our level as you collect the last 2 collectibles on the roof. These will lead the player straight to the Bastion, and that'll conclude my level.
And with that, that concludes our level. I hope you all enjoyed that.